Mayor, you're live. That's why we put one extra there.
It's just the papers were changed, right? Not the agenda, though.
Yes, it's just a paper.
Okay. Okay. Special Commission meeting, 6:00 p.m., Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Here.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Yes.
Clerk?
Here.
Mayor Mohammed?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any deletions or withdrawals to the agenda? Nope. Okay.
Not from mine.
Public comments related to agenda items? No? Okay. All right, so I'm going to skip around just a little bit. Because technically, I think I want to do the,
If you do them in the same order, Mayor, they'll match up.
yeah, so, all right. 6.1, consideration and approval for a resolution regarding the budget amendment to the fiscal year 2020,
May I?
25, yes.
Mayor, thank you. Good evening, Mayor Commission. For the record, item 6.1 is Resolution 2025-14, a resolution of the Town Commission, the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, amending Resolution 2024-020, adopted on September 25th, 2004, providing for an amended budget for the fiscal year 2024-25 for the town, attached to Exhibit A, providing for severability, conflicts, providing for an effective date. Mayor Commission, the Town Manager has submitted an updated Exhibit A to the resolution, which he can speak further on, but just for the record, if and when the item is adopted this evening, I would ask that it be adopted as amended to include the manager's recommended change to the budget.
Is there any discussion?
I did want to offer an explanation briefly, Your Honor, if I could. The amount of money which is coming from the Stormwater Fund is amended to a lower amount because we're using additional ARPA funds. That's the only change. And so when you see the budget amendment, we're still going forward with the pump station. It's just that the amount that we're taking from the Stormwater Reserve Fund has been reduced by the amount of money that we're using in the ARPA fund. So that's the only explanation for that.
Okay.
I have questions.
Yes.
All right. This is what number on that agenda?
6.1.
Point one.
6.1. Okay. Where on this proposed agenda is for the ARPA funds is this? Is it the 500,000 for the stormwater pump lift station contribution?
Yes, and that's in the amended version of the ARPA fund, which isn't coming up till
7.2. That's why I was saying I wanted to do.
I realize, but you're mentioning it, so I'm looking at
Yeah.
it to compare the forms to make sure it's on there.
Yeah.
So all the difference is 500,000?
That's correct. Well, I take that back. It's 500,000 as a result of this, but originally we were only taking 200,000 out of ARPA. Now we're taking 500,000 out of ARPA. So the version that you received originally and this one is a $300,000 difference, but the total amount of ARPA money is 500,000, and the amount that we're taking out of stormwater is 1 point.
If everybody pulls up the single sheet, that's, no.
In the back.
No, don't look at, this is different from that one. Look at the single sheet, yes, that's not stapled. Okay, that's what we're going by.
Mr. Jacobs is just over $1 million.
It's, but it's no.
So the totals are exactly the same. It's just that
So
we're,
500's coming from ARPA, 500's coming from the stormwater, I'm sorry, from the sewer fund.
no, 500,000 is coming from ARPA. 1,026,213 is coming from the stormwater fund.
Okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say that you're short money somewhere. By a
Oh, yeah, I
lot.
see the one, the different with the pump station.
No. When they approve the item as.
Well, no, it's,
Okay.
Okay.
so there was a little bit of movement around earlier today. We were having,
Why don't you
We
use your
moved-
microphone, Mayor?
oh, sorry. I said there was some discussion, and we moved some of the park restoration facelift and equipment that was in there for 300,000. And we also, so that everybody's clear that that was moved around into the pump because of the fact that we have some situations with our drainage that we really need to address. And so I've been kind of fighting with the town manager on using the ARPA funds to cover it, especially when we have, we did a LBR this year for like $1.2 million. They've only budgeted 400, so we're gonna have to come up with the shortfall for that. And also to complete this 25th Street project so that it will actually function properly, we also need to do the second phase. And so we only have like 4.6, 4.8 in the reserve. So I asked that we could use more of the ARPA funds to cover it versus cleaning out our reserve fund. Because there's gonna be 3 projects that we're gonna have to fund immediately to kind of get relief on that east side of town.
There's a big difference, though, between reserve funds and the stormwater sewer funds. The stormwater and sewer funds are taxpayer-collected funds that have to be used to fund these projects.
No, that's the reserve I'm talking about. It's the stormwater reserve fund. That's, let me be specific, not the actual town's reserve, but the stormwater reserve
It's a
enterprise
separate
fund.
stormwater
Enterprise
fund.
fund.
The enterprise fund,
not reserve fund.
that's what I'm.
Yes.
I misspoke.
Calling it a reserve fund is inappropriate for what the fund actually is, so.
Our apologies. It's, it was a communication error on our part, but you're right. You're right about
But without getting it right, people don't know what you're talking about. We have a town reserve, and we have this
Yeah, no,
money
they-
set aside for stormwater and sewer.
Yeah, you're right, and that's why we want to make sure that the clerk is correcting the record tonight as we have this discussion.
How does this affect the line with ARPA? That's the 30th of April, right?
Yeah, it actually won't affect it at all. If you heard the full explanation of the way the ARPA thing is set out, we have a deadline of April 30th. However, there's another April 30th, 2026 deadline. So believe it or not, if you had even further amendments to ARPA, you could do it after this April 30th. But this is sort of a touchstone date. Tell us how you're going to spend the money. Wink, wink. You can change your minds during the next year if you want to.
Okay, thank you.
That gives you an extra year for them to also decide, oh, guess what, next month, we're gonna claw back these funds and not let you use them because that's what we just decided to do.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's the reason why we've moved forward with this list, because if we in fact have the money go out the door, they can't claw it back. And so our intention is not to come back next April 30th with something else that's different again. The point is, get the dang money out the door as soon as humanly possible before forces out of our control.
And can you tell the commission when we got this money?
Sure, I think we've now had it for 2.5 years.
And how much have we spent?
James, help me on that, would you please?
About 500,000, right, James?
Yep, that's
About
right.
500,000. We sit on stuff and nothing ever gets done in Pembroke Park. This is the whole point of this town. Nothing ever gets done. We got grants that are 10 years old. They've been here. I've been here over 6 years now, and those grants have been here longer than I have on projects that still are not complete. They're extended out till 2026. So the can just keeps getting kicked down the road. So at some point, the state's going to come in and either take our town or take our funds, or both. So, and I anticipate both coming. If you guys don't see what's going on in the state legislature right now with the state legislation, it's going to happen. And these funds we've been sitting on, they've just been sitting in the account, not being used. So they need to be spent instead of sitting there and used on projects that we actually need and can get done.
Fair enough.
Agree.
Okay. So everyone has the new ARPA list. Is everyone okay with the fact that we're pulling the 300 from the parks to put into the 25th Street project? Is everyone okay with that? Okay. So on,
important to get the.
So are these going to be two separate
Drainage.
issues? Are we going to discuss what's on the ARPA fund list here and this project, or are we discussing all at
we
once?
need to, that's why I was kind of going to do the ARPA first, because 7.1 is the ARPA to make sure everybody was okay with the modifications.
Okay.
If there were any other additional modifications anyone wanted to see.
Yes, I have discussion for that.
Okay, so let's switch around at 7.1, because what will happen is with 7.1, once you finalize that number, then you'll know what you're pulling out of the 4.6 for the enterprise fund. Okay, so let's go to 7.1 ARPA,
7.2, Mayor.
sorry, 7.2. 7.2 ARPA funds, consideration and approval of amending the ARPA funds allocation and utilization list.
I'll wait till everyone else is done.
Do you guys have any input on? Okay, then you have the floor.
Okay, first off, we go back a couple public works directors, there's no point for the town of Pembroke Park to buy a vac truck. It's $150,000 that the town does not need. It's a wasted expense. Here's why. We only use the truck a handful of times a year. We rent the truck every time we need it. To have the truck sit on property cost us money for insurance, cost us money for repairs, cost us money for it just to sit there to maybe be used 2, 3, maybe 4 times a year. We did the calculations in the past and found it was just more efficient to rent a truck when we needed it. Excavator, we have 2 of them. I believe we dumped over $14,000 or $7,000 to $14,000 in upgrading and repairing one. I'm not sure what the other one is. I don't think a town that is 2 miles or 1.6 of land needs 3 excavators. That's 2 expenses right there that don't need done. I mean, that's 3. So going back, I will give this former, it was Rob Clark, our former Public Works Director. The former mayor, Vice Mayor Howard Clark, always wanted a dump truck for the town. Rob took a step in the right direction and says, again, we don't need the dump truck due to the ongoing expenses, insurance, maintenance, training, licensing, everything that goes along with it. All we really needed was 2 dump trailers or a dump trailer, which we ended up purchasing out a while back. And that's exactly what we needed for the town. He was right. He was the one that agreed about the vac truck that we didn't need that. That said, you also have $100,000 listed for the community center here. As I stated earlier, projects never get completed in Pembroke Park. This is $100,000 for a project that, who knows, maybe 10 years from now might get completed. But we have other things that are more of a priority in the town. I sent the town manager a list from the police chief, around 640,000, maybe we'll call it 650 or less, somewhere in there, of equipment that the police department is needing. New tasers, camera systems, some equipment that is needed. I think we are better off. It has 250,000 listed here, removing the excavator, removing the vac truck, and the community center, and moving that money over to the police to buy the equipment needed for the police department. I think that's a better way to spend the money. Plus, it's set to be spent. It's ready to be purchased, and this gets another $650,000 out of the ARPA funds now, so we don't lose it down the road. Clawback is coming. We're going to lose money. We're going to lose money in our building department. We're going to lose money from grants. We're going to lose money from this if we don't get things done, and this needs to be done. That's all I have.
Manny, when you put this on and gave me the information on it, did you pull figures of how much we spent in the last couple of years on vac trucks coming and cleaning up messes? I know on my street we had 2 breaks. I think each one of them was over $40,000 for the cleanup on each one of them, right?
So, Manny Larzabal, Deputy Director.
Hit the button, man.
Button.
Manny Larzabal, Deputy Director, Public Services. So, to address Mr. Jacobs' point, the jet bacter is one of the vital tools that the town would use simply for drainage maintenance. We'll be able to set a schedule to clean the drainage in the town on a weekly basis, and we'll be able to tackle the entire town throughout the entire year. That's one of the requirements for MPDS. That's for one thing that I find vital for the jet vector. The second point is whenever we have a sewer break or there's a sewer spill, we have to clean the stations. Ever so often, the stations fill up with grease. The catch bases need to be cleaned out. So having a jet vector on hand will make the work a lot more efficient to be able to go out there at any given notice and clean out the stations, clean out any issues we have with the sewer. So that's one of the main points of having a jet vector on site. The other point is when we have a break where there's a lot of underground utilities and it's a very complicated point, having a backhoe, which is a bigger equipment, if you go down there, a lot of times you don't know what's there besides having the point that you have locations, yes, but a lot of times they're not very accurate. So when you have a mini excavator on hand, it's a smaller equipment, it's a lot more gentle on the underground utilities, and you have a better chance of not breaking a piece of pipe versus having a big excavator, a big backhoe, where you can just one swipe and it's done. You could break.
You're looking at 110,000 for a mini excavator?
No, 110,000.
Say you were
No.
shopping in the wrong catalog.
No, sir. The mini excavator is going to be roughly about 40,000.
Yeah, they're about 35, 40. So
Yes.
that's
That is the price estimate for
diamond studded excavator. So
Correct. No. That is what we're looking at purchasing one of the Kubotas. We already have a Kubota equipment on hand. It is what we call a skid steer. Skid steer is a small little.
no, I purchased that as well.
Correct. So we have that. We're gonna go along and purchase a Kubota for the mini excavator.
Okay, so
Let me stress another point.
Okay, but wait. So what he asked was how much have we spent on the pump truck over
So right
per year, per incident?
per
what do
year,
we-
that calculation hasn't been addressed yet. However, and the thing is a per incident basis as well. Each time the jet vector goes out there is about $2,000 and some change, depending on how long the person stays out there. So if we have 2-3 breaks in a month, you can add that up to be close to 20,000, and that's just probably in a month. In the next month, you have other breaks or other emergencies. That's another $2,000 for that to show up there. And then the other thing is, if we need it and they're not there, now we got to scramble. We got to wait. It's time. So
And I'll tell you how that weight things works. When we had
Price.
that break over on South Park Road, when that break happened, that truck didn't get there right away. And we have we have a storm drain there for water, for flood water, and it was running into the flood water. And the EPA, if they ever found that out, they would sue the hell out of us.
yes.
Now,
So I do understand, the concern for the cost. It is a cost. It is an added piece of equipment, insurance, and all that. However, it is a vital tool that I believe is essential for the town to have on hand, especially for emergency situations.
we also have 380,000 listed for park service building.
For parks, yes, that is for the mobile trailer out there for the guys, because right now they really don't have a place to go. They're sitting out there at the Parks Rec building. They don't really have a decent bathroom. They don't have anywhere to go shower. Nothing is complete there. It's a disaster. We have lawnmowers in there. There's not a place where the guys can actually for during their lunch break go and disconnect from their work. So having this mobile trailer out there will have a proper office for the superintendent, a training room for the crews, a proper bathroom and shower area for the crews as well. And anything else that we may need, we'll have plenty of room there to accommodate our crew of,
So this 380 is for a mobile building?
yes, mobile permanent building. Yes, it's a triple wide trailer. It's not 380, it's actually at 310. That's the most updated price that I just got a few minutes ago from the vendor.
Was the park building just violated by code enforcement?
Not to my knowledge. The purpose of the idea of this
Probably
mobile
should
trailer was that originally there was already a trailer there, which I believe belonged to Fire, if I'm not mistaken. Few years ago, there was already a trailer on site in that parking area.
In the 6 years I've been here, I haven't seen one out there. So
And when you go on the Google Maps, you see the difference. You'll see that there was a trailer there at one point. I'm not sure the exact year on that, but I can certainly do my research and let you know a time frame.
Mr. Chairman, or Madam Chairman, I'm sorry. Can I offer a brief footnote to this that might be helpful?
okay.
Commissioner Jacobs, I understand what you're saying. The first week I got here, I had a conversation with the folks in the service department, not just Manny, but the people that work for him. And they all said the same thing. They had two things on their brain. One was the vac truck, which they want to use and have more immediate access to and use more often because of the drainage issues we're having more and more and more. And that the excavating equipment we have was inadequate, down to a man. Of all 13 men that work in that department, they said, whatever you do, please get us our own vac truck and get us a better excavator. But I will make the following statement that will help address some of the other concerns you developed. On the police equipment end, almost all the equipment that was on that police list is actually here. The reason that number is a little bit lower, Commissioner Jacobs, is that we discovered that without penalty, we can spread the rest of the body cam payments over a 5-year period. And so that's like free interest money to do it that way. And so we have room in our general fund budget to continue to do it that way. And that just made more sense to us. The one other thing I would ask, though, that related to the changes you described is if you wanted to, we are having some meetings about a community center, and I've had 2 meetings in the last week with reference to different financing opportunities. And there is some potential that we will be getting some money for community center from the state. So I just put that $100,000 in as kind of a form of seed money. What I would suggest is, if you wanted to, just make one amendment to this list, and let's take the $100,000 out of the community center and put it under, move that over to the line just above it, stormwater control. I don't know what's going to hit us in June, and having more money in stormwater control.
They're called hurricanes.
Well, thank you. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen, at least not a direct hit. But the point, though, is that if you just leave the bottom line the same and amend the community center money up to stormwater, we're okay on the police equipment for the reasons I described to you. But I'm urgently asking that the vac truck and excavator be left in there. If the excavator ends up costing less money, that's the reason why we're allowed under the federal law to come back over and over again. But that's a general statement with reference to a good point the commissioner made. When I became the town manager about 6.5 months ago, there had not been an official passage of an official list by this commission for all the purposes of spending the ARPA money, and that's not your fault. But somebody should have presented something for official passage, and that's why back in March, you actually had a vote on it for the very first time. And this will come back to you as the amounts that we spend change. If the vac truck costs 50 instead of 110, that's great. But we need to move the money out the door. And that's the reason why this is essential. And Commissioner Jacobs, I'm going to tell you, I'm dedicated to making sure that we're not subject to a clawback. When it comes to getting this money out the door, there's a new sheriff in town, and that's the reason why there's been so much discussion about it. And I know that at one point in time, town manager / service director Aleem had created a list about there had been some discussion, but I did the research with the town clerk, and there was nothing officially passed. And that made me very nervous, especially knowing that the folks in Washington are getting itchy to start clawing back money. So if you'd accept what I've described to you, merely make the amendment of community center over to stormwater control, which will then go to 200,000. Leave the bottom line the same. And if the dollars come in differently, we have to start getting the procurement phase of this and stop talking about this and start doing it. So if you, all of you as a group, are willing to accept that kind of minor compromise, I think it'll help us move forward.
Yeah, I have a question. The old equipment we have, is there any trade-in value in that? Or is the condition of it so poorly that that's humane?
Yes, there could be. Right now, the backhoe that we have, which by the way, Mr. Jacobs, Commissioner Jacobs, we only have one backhoe. We don't have no other digging device.
Where'd the other one go? We had 2.
When I arrived, we only had one backhoe that is old. It's in good shape, for an old excavator backhoe.
We had a case and a cat.
Which is the one that kept leaking that we still keep paying like $20,000 to
That was the lift truck. That went out, I think, 6-8 times for repair.
Okay.
They kept taking it to the same place over and over again, and it'd come back and it would still be broken. And then we'd pay them again, and it'd come back and still be broken. And that was all under lien. So we couldn't get that thing fixed. And then they finally took it to another shop. believe Chandler had it sent to another shop and got it fixed. So
Well, the short answer to the question that was asked is it does have trade-in value, Commissioner Morissette.
Okay.
We just don't know what it is.
All right.
Yes,
So-
and if we have to get rid of it, then we do. If we don't, I'd feel more comfortable
It
having it.
depends on the value compared to if there's very little trade value, it might be a good idea. To keep it as a
you're
reserve.
comparing two different size excavators. He's talking about a mini excavator, and you're talking about
Yeah.
a bucket loader with the backhoe on it.
They're two different
things, two different jobs, two different types of needs.
Let's keep them around then.
Okay, so basically what I kind of just heard from everyone is there's another 70,000 that we can move from that parks maintenance building. And there's another 70,000 we can move from the backhoe excavator. Basically, as you said, it's 40, we have it for 110. The building we have for 380, you said it's 310. So that's another 140 that I would like, I don't know about you guys, but I would like to see this again move to this 25th Street project. Because the 25th Street project is here at the door, right here, right now. We need to get the money out. Everybody is on the same page, but we need to get the money out the door before they go into the bank account and seize that money.
Mayor, I'm with you on that, if I might.
Mhm.
The reason there's wiggle room is because we haven't gone through the procurement process. So that's the
Well,
reason
you guys
why
are
we-
on the procurement process for the building you've been working with,
for the-
because you're using the state purchase agreement, right?
Correct. So
Okay.
right now I have the ballpark price for the mobile trailer. The only thing
Ballpark.
that is missing is the wiring. That perhaps Mark can.
These are all
can chime
estimates,
in
Mayor.
Okay.
And give me a better price on how much it'll be for wiring. Plus, we will need a little bit of change for desk and chairs, to properly, furnish the
Okay.
rooms.
Okay, so
So-
you're just, so,
You're suggesting taking the park service building and move it down to the stormwater control.
well,
This is the
he's
25th.
suggesting to take that whole building out, correct, or no? I'm not sure. The park, that public work building, you want to keep the module?
We'd like to, Mayor,
But-
if we
okay,
could.
so
But
you
isn't
wanna-
it easier to get
Don't care. I
grants
don't.
for a big project like a building than all these little items that we need to process now?
Well, if you follow that philosophy, he's ready to get that building, move along, and we need to get the money out. The building they're in now is horrible. I mean, it's just,
Oh, it's
not.
Where are the guys cleaning up now?
It's a disgrace.
Excuse me?
When the guys are out in the field covered in sludge,
Yeah.
where are they cleaning up at?
Nowhere. Right now, some of them, if they choose to, they'll come up here to the second floor. A lot of them, feel uncomfortable having to walk through.
So we're tracking it
our-
all through
our
the building,
building,
which
yes.
is very unsanitary.
And right now,
Hey, we've used a garden hose.
that too, and I'm sure some of them, those that live in town, probably go home, change, and then come back, or
So they
do
bring it
something
home too.
Yeah, they shouldn't bring.
Yeah.
Mayor, let me make
Sewage.
one more suggestion.
Not
Maybe
very
this will
healthy.
satisfy everybody. Let's take the $100,000 out of community center, move that up to the pump station, and leave the rest the way it is so that we can find out exactly what those dollars are for everything else.
Does that leave it open for adjustments later?
Yes, not that we want to keep making them over and over again, but we have until, we've been told in writing, and our finance director just attended a seminar from the federal government. We have until April 30th of 2026. So the answer to that is yes. But I will also tell you that what I'm going to be making part of your workshops going forward is an ARPA report, every workshop. So you know exactly what's being spent in what area so that we can accommodate, because all these ultimately are going to end up being estimates of one sort or another, but they're very educated, scientifically determined estimates. So if the
Mayor,
commission would,
Manager, hold on.
Yeah.
Mayor, can we just move this forward as amended?
Can you move the 100,000 that
Move the
way?
100, the community center to the stormwater control.
Okay,
And then,
not stormwater control to the 25th Street.
okay, 100,000 from the community center to the 25th Street pump station contribution.
Okay.
no, he's put it up to the 25th stage.
The 500,000.
Okay, so now that puts it at 600,000.
And then
Okay.
move this to consent.
Well, there's no consent. We're adopting it today.
We're adopting it to special.
Yes.
Because it's
Okay.
a special.
Yeah.
Okay,
everything's
then
good.
I make a motion to adopt the ARPA funds list as
As amended.
amended.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Roll call.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem. Yes. Motion carries.
Okay. Now I'm gonna go back. Thank you. I'm gonna go back to
6.1,
6.1.
which requires a further amendment now that you've done that.
Well, that's what I knew was gonna end up happening. I had a feeling that there was some wiggle room to get more money into the 25th Street so that we're not exhausting the enterprise because of the fact that we have so much that needs to come out of the enterprise.
Mayor, when you're ready, I'll,
Okay.
well, give to
I have
just
one
about things.
question. I'm sorry, only like if we're taking the money from the park, so for the replacement, for the playground, the equipment, where are you gonna get the money from?
We'll get that because we have money in the budget. We do have money in the budget, but we're not ready to go there yet because we have no master plan. So that's why it's like as soon as we start moving this along with the meetings with Kevin, if Kevin's going to do the engineering specs, if we're going to get somebody else to do the engineering specs for the park, then we can find the funding for it. But right now, the ARPA money needs to get out the door.
Okay.
So yeah, no, trust me, we'll all be fighting for the parks because he wants his splash pad, I want a splash pad, and we need a amphitheater to be in compliance. Okay. 6.1, consideration of an approval of the resolution for the budget amendment.
The resolution's already been read into the record. It's on the floor for your consideration. You have the amendments as subsequently amended by the town manager and the commission.
Yeah, if I could have your attention, Madam Mayor. You have the amendment sheet that was passed out today. I want all the commissioners to pull that out for a moment so I can identify specifically the numbers we're talking about. At the top of that sheet, it says amended version, amended as of 4/23 at 5:06 PM. Under the first line revenues, to the far right, you see the number 1,026,213. Based on the ARPA language change that you just made, that number will now read 926,213. And the line below it that says ARPA funds will read 600,000 instead of 500,000. The rest of the numbers on that page remain exactly the same. And that is as a result of the ARPA item that you just passed.
So entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve 2025-014.
That's as amended, Mr. Vice Mayor? As amended.
As amended.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Question. Is he here for Blue Line?
I'm not sure.
Yes? Is he here for Blue Line? I'm just, I like to get people out. Because
Yeah,
his son.
he
Who's he
might,
for?
yeah, I might be, so you might as well move it up. I don't know.
Let's do that.
Okay, so we'll take 7.5, consideration and approval to award contract.
Sure.
Competitive bid for Blue Line, the lowest responsive bidder. Yes or no? Is that him?
Yep.
I'm
He was
assuming.
here regarding it.
I mean, I couldn't figure out what else he was here for because he's
We're
a
trying to
new
figure out why
face.
you were here.
New face, so.
Blue line.
Is it okay that I approach or sit?
Yes, come.
That's fine.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, City Manager, Chief, City staff, and residents. My name is Richard Rand. I live at 2301 South Ocean Drive in the wonderful city of Hollywood, Florida. I'm here tonight to represent Blue Line Solutions, and I know that we were up for discussion tonight about the automated speed enforcement in school zones. I just wanted to express my gratitude for you hearing us and moving safety forward in the schools. We are very instrumental in Broward County. We have opened up a brand-new store that is sales and service in Hollywood, in the center of Hollywood. We have a current contract with the city of Hollywood, 40 schools. We have half of them up and running. Currently, right now, it's 0 issues. The main thing I really wanted to drive home tonight is that this program is really about educating the residents of Pembroke Park about the issues of speeding in school zones. I can tell you that you will never hear anything about revenue from my company. We do not talk about revenue. We talk about the safety. And before a camera goes up or before a citation is issued, I can guarantee you that 90% of your residents will know what is going to happen if they do 10 miles an hour over in a school speed zone. Public information and education is vital to this. The gentleman who started our company, Mark Hutchinson, also began Click It or Ticket 25 years ago. And even today, people see signs, Click It or Ticket, and a lot of lives have been saved because people wear their seatbelts. So again, I wanted to thank you very much for taking this seriously. We are here to assist. I will be here tonight for a little bit if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, but we are very excited.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I do have some questions, and I'm not sure if it's going to be the attorney, the manager, or if you're going to be answering it. I'm not sure. Okay. I noticed that in the RFP, there is a thing where it says that a secondary camera can be used to capture wide-angle violations. Is there extra cost for or is that something? It says, in addition, although not standard deployment BLS technology can be equipped with a secondary camera that will capture a wide-angle view for every violator.
Yes, that comes with the program. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there's no extra cost
There's
for that?
there's no extra cost for any part of this program.
Okay.
Zero cost to the city.
Okay. Hearing process, like, I don't know if that's going to be a city attorney, because I know it says it'll utilize our current hearing process, but is that saying that they're going to go before a magistrate, or are they going to the courthouse?
No, it would be before magistrate. The city
magistrate.
would have a hearing officer, our hearing officer, either the same magistrate or a separate magistrate engaged for that purpose.
Okay. I couldn't make out on the delinquent fees versus late fees. I really couldn't figure out. It looks like there's a $350 fee if they're over 30 days. Could you explain that for me a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Yes, ma'am. So it's really up to the city. Florida state statute dictates that if the citation is not paid or a local court hearing is not scheduled, then it turns into a uniform traffic citation, which is just like getting a traffic ticket from a police officer. At that point, it's out of the hands of the city and it goes to the Broward County Clerk's office. And then the clerk processes that way. And whatever administrative fees are issued by the court, that's up to the court system. It could be up to $350, depending on the judge.
Okay. It says that the monies collected will be deposited into a specific account to the town. So when you guys do the check processing and all of that stuff through the website, is that money being directly deposited into the city's coffers, or is it going to be deposited in your coffers and then you guys will true it up at some point? How does that work?
Yeah, so on the 15th or thereabouts every month, Blue Line Solutions, will actually send the money. You'll have two accounts set up in the city. One will be a checking account, one will be a savings to accept credit card payments. If a person calls our company and or goes in the offsite to see their violation and pay the violation, the 15th of every month, we reconciliate all of those traffic fines and then we transmit the money to the city.
Okay. Okay. I know you said you have something here on how to contest the citations. Is there going to be like a formal process, or is it just going to be appearing at the magistrate? What is the process like?
Sure. So what we're finding in Hollywood, that there's a lot of folks, Dade and Broward County are really a melting pot of a lot of different types of people, right? I'm retired from the city of North Miami Beach, so I'm well aware of the different ethnicities that we have. And the reason why we opened up the Hollywood office is we have a staff of about 15 folks there that speak multiple languages: Russian, Spanish, Creole, French, all different languages. We allow the violators, if they want to go into that office and actually view their violation and pay it at that point. They can also go online to pay the citation, and they can call our 1-800 number or 1-866 number in Tennessee. And if they can't afford it, because we are very well aware that $100, sometimes people live paycheck to paycheck, unfortunately, in today's world, they can go into our offices and work out a payment plan. We're the only company that does that, and we do not want to put anybody under a financial burden. The most important thing is the education of not speeding in school zones. I'm not sure if I answered your question, or I totally went off.
How do you contest it? I think that's what you.
You have 30
But no,
days.
that's good, because I was wanting because that was something that I sent to the manager and attorney before, was if you 30% of our residents live below the poverty line. To give
Yes.
them a $100 ticket on somebody who's working as a busser at a restaurant or something is kind of like a big chunk.
Sure.
And it's hurtful. So understanding that the statute sets the price of $100, are they able to make payments? If they can't afford it, are you going to just like suspend their license and hit them with $350 later that they still can't afford to pay?
I can promise you this, Mayor, that like Pembroke Park, we're a smaller company than some of these other larger companies. We're not in this for the revenue. We're in this to educate the residents. If somebody comes into our office in Hollywood and they are having financial crisis, or they're in a tough financial time, we will work with them on the payment. We will not let that traffic citation go to uniform to become a civil citation, because once it's in the hands of the court, it's out of everybody's hands at that point. So it's important for us to be able to work with the people. But again, our public information and education campaign is going to be so tremendous. I'm going to go to HOA meetings. I'll go to all the schools. Well, I know you only have a couple schools, but I'll go to all the PTA meetings, and I will do everything I can to pass the word that you don't speed in school zones in Pembroke Park. And we will work with those folks. Absolutely. That's one of the biggest reasons we opened up the office in Hollywood, because we care about the community. We don't want to put people behind the eight ball. You get a $100 ticket, and before you know it, 6 months later, your license is going to be a snowball. We don't want that. That's not what we're in business for.
Okay.
If I could also just add, Mayor, that the ordinance that the commission adopted at your last regular meeting provides the entire enforcement process, the hearing process before the magistrate, the cost-sharing breakdown consistent with state law as it relates to any fines that are collected by the town, appeals, the entire administrative process of considering these violations are both embraced in state law and in the town code.
Yeah, but it didn't break down the fact that they can make a payment plan if they.
That's specific to this business,
Yeah,
correct?
that's why.
That's specific to the company.
Because that was one of the things that when I sent you the letters, I was like, hey, can we do it on a sliding scale? Or can we, do 2 warnings first? If it's somebody that can demonstrate extreme hardship, those were the things that I was asking for
Right.
because of the fact that I know that 30% of our residents live below the poverty line. $100 is a lot of money.
And Manager, through the mayor, if I can say this, that we are going to work with the city. The program belongs to the city of Pembroke Park. We are just giving you the tools to run the program. If you as the mayor and the city manager, the chief, come to me and say, Rich, we have our residents, 30% of our residents live below the poverty line. We need to make sure, it is vital that our residents do not get tagged with a $100 ticket and then in 6 months from now they've lost their license and they're in a horrible situation. So talking about that and having that discussion before this is something that's vital to everybody. And before a contract is even signed or anything's worked out, I would want to sit down with you and make sure that that is in the contract and that is something that you feel good about, because I wouldn't feel good about doing it if that were the issue, because that's not what I'm here for.
Well, I mean, I don't feel good about doing this because of the fact that, number one, our zones are not clearly delineated.
Gotcha.
That's the problem that I have is that, 48th Avenue, the school sign has been faded out for how long? The county is giving us excuses of, hey, there's a project that's somewhere in the pipeline, so we can't restripe it
Understood.
to say, hey, there's the school zone because there's a project in the pipeline that no permits have been pulled yet.
Yes, ma'am. Understood. And as Blue Line Solutions, we actually come into your city so that you know. I look at every single sign and take pictures of it. If the sign is faded, if the times don't match up with the school zone, if the street is not properly marked, if the flashers do not work, we as a company will come in here and pay for replacement of that within 7 days. And we will have that sign.
Flashers on some of the school zone signs.
We can take care of all. We have a very strong relationship with FDOT, and we have turned private schools, because a lot of private schools aren't school zoned. We've turned them into school zones because private kids are just as important as kids who go to public school. So we will work with the city on that, and I can guarantee you we will not put a camera up until that school zone is properly marked. You have my word on it.
Okay. And then there's no additional cost.
No, ma'am. We cover that from A to Z.
And the advertising, because I see that you said radio, TV, and printed media are available upon request.
Yes, so we do public. We have our own public information and education component. We will work with your city's PIO. If there isn't one, we have one locally that will do it.
Consider it requested.
Yes.
Yes.
Consider it done, Manager.
Okay. And then I did see in the contract there was a termination, 30-day termination for cause or
Convenience.
without cause.
Correct.
Convenience without cause. However, is there a fee to terminate?
I'd have to look at our RFP proposal, but my recommendation, and from what I know, is the answer is no. And if there is, we can discuss that.
There is not one.
Okay. Can you make sure it's in the contract? Because
The contract provides for either party, the town can terminate for convenience on 30 days' notice. Either party could terminate for cause without penalty.
Okay. Okay. Those are my questions.
Yeah, I don't think we should lose sight of this is also to save lives.
Yes, sir, 100%. That's what we are here for. As part of the program, Mayor, too, through the manager, is that we also put up radar feedback signs. We're the only company that does that. So you're going to get 3 warnings before you get a ticket.
Okay.
There are 3 warnings where if you're still doing 11 miles an hour over the speed limit, and if you get stopped by an officer for doing that same 11 miles, it's a $365 ticket and 3 points on your license. This is a $100 civil fine that we will work out with the violator.
Okay,
And 0 points.
and 0 points.
okay. I just want to make sure that it's not being used as a taxing mechanism.
And Mayor, if you find that it is through the manager's office, we will remove the equipment with 0 cost.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to wish the Vice Mayor a happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. I was warned before I walked in, so I needed to make sure that.
I was so impressed when I came to America and saw school zones because we don't have that in Scandinavia. And I think it's a brilliant system, and also school buses in Scandinavia use public transportation. The kids use public transportation
Yes.
because it's safe, but we don't have that luxury
Yes, sir.
of the school bus and school zone systems. I love it.
Well, we're here to serve the city.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, thank
Ma'am,
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion. Is your motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes. Vice Mayor Morissette,
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right. Since I got you guys,
Oh, sorry.
does that mean it's break time?
No, it's just somebody wants to say happy birthday.
No, we can sing right now. Is that okay?
No, it's
Something
my
sweet.
aunt.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
I'll call her.
Okay. I'm going to go back to 7.4. Motion to approve town manager's promotion and recommended salary increase for Mizell Flores in accordance with change in pay provision of the town employees personnel manual.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If ever there was a person in our service department, apart from the outstanding management that we have over in that department generally, if there was ever a person who was sort of at the center of everything, it's Mike Flores. When we have special events, he shows up. If there's a crisis in terms of flooding, he shows up. If there's a sewer break, he shows up. And this is how dedicated he was. Last year, his salary was $75,000, but because of overtime, he earned over $100,000, and he was worth every single penny what he did. So the heads of that department said, well, let's make Mike the superintendent. He deserves that. And that takes his salary already from 75 to 95. Because that's a $20,000 increase, we're required by law, by our charter and ordinances, to bring it in front of the commission. Otherwise, we just do that internally administratively. But mark my words, you're still getting that same outstanding service, but now instead of costing over $100,000, it's $95,000 because he'll now be on a regular salary. We've had a discussion with Mike about this, and he's wanted to have that title for a long time. And it's just typical of Mike. The title and the opportunity to serve mean a lot more to him than the money. So I urge a unanimous passage of this item tonight.
I have a question. How long has he been performing the duties of a...
Superintendent? Yeah, it goes back a little bit. Manny, can you help on that?
Manny Larzabal, Deputy Director of Public Services. When I got here, I kind of looked back at his history, and it seems that he was already acting when I arrived, and I've been here already 6 months. And when I checked, he was already doing that potentially a little bit, about a year or so. Don't quote me right now. I can go back and look at the research, but he's definitely been doing it over a year.
There's a retroactive element in this, Mayor. It's going to go back to, I think, January. Am I saying that right, Manny?
I believe so.
Yeah, but I would put that on the record. We would have it be retroactive to January.
this
Down
year?
for that.
Because Commissioner Jacobs, can you shed some light on this? Because when I left, the position was open in 2020, but I don't know what you guys did afterwards. So was he?
I am the commissioner of nothing, and this all happened under your guys' watch.
No,
when-
when he was promoted to acting, I wasn't here for that. He was promoted under Rob Clark's.
That would have been Babette Friedman and J.C. Eumenes, and the commission is not aware of it.
Okay, can someone go back and give us the correct timing of when he was promoted into that acting position? Because I
can do that.
think,
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, we can get the information. But I'd still like to retro this to the beginning of the year.
okay. I just kind of, I just want to make sure that where compensation is really due, he's getting his compensation. I know he's been doing this, I believe from the time I came in, he's been in that role. And I feel like we're doing a disservice to him and not showing our appreciation of him by not backdating his salary to when he took that position.
But he has been compensated through overtime.
Right. Yeah, I was going to question that too, because if he's working overtime, if he's being paid overtime, then how are you going to go back and say, oh, we're going to, it doesn't make sense how you're going to deal with that, which you have to give us the overtime back so he can be compensated.
But does that count, does that go back to 2 years or 1 year? Because he's been doing it from at least, I mean, when did Rob Clark? Rob Clark.
It was before that.
You guys
Exactly, so I would like.
That's more than 2
invest-
years ago.
Yeah, I would like to check and see if maybe last year he made 100,000, but the year before that he only made 70 or something like that. I would
No,
like
he
to
was
make sure.
still getting
company-
over the time at that stage.
But was he making what he should have been making? Is what my question is. Was he making with the overtime? Was he clearing 95? Can you guys look into it and just check and get back to
I
me?
would have to.
Yeah, but I don't want to avoid passage
No.
tonight.
I want to pass it, but I just want to be able to. If we owe him, I would like to make him whole. Is basically what I'm asking.
If I may add just one comment, Mayor, and this is the first I've heard some of the discussion as it relates particularly to retroactive compensation. There is a provision in state law that prohibits a public employee for being compensated for work that was performed after the fact. In other words, it speaks to a prohibition on extra compensation. I don't have any issue with the approval tonight, and I don't have any issue with what the commission's discussing. I would just like the motion to be subject to a particular review of that statute, and to the extent that a retroactive implementation of that pay adjustment were to conflict with state law, I just want to make sure we follow the proper provisions in state statute.
I agree.
No problem, we'll be glad to comply. And Commissioner Hodgkins' statement actually kind of makes some sense when you think about it.
Okay. All right. So is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to go ahead and pass.
Subject to,
Subject to,
Okay.
just that additional review. Thank you.
I second.
Roll call.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 7.3, motion to ratify the town's fair share contribution to the Area Agency on Aging to the amount of $5387.64. So explain what happened.
Yeah, the check was cut for this purpose, but I have asked, this is, by the way, an internal policy coming from the town manager. Anytime we're making a contribution to a worthy organization for the purposes of services that they're providing, I've just been encouraging the clerk to have these appear on the commission's agenda. It's not mandatory, but this all kind of got started when we got involved in the issue of the that Arab American group that we've been contributing to on a regular basis. I forget the acronym, Mayor, that you're familiar with them. IGNA. And so that's when I initiated this policy. So I'm asking you to pass this as a courtesy to me as a town manager, because I want to have a legislative sprinkling of holy water anytime we do anything like this.
This one is a budgeted item. It's in budget. It has been.
Yeah.
It's probably about 30 years.
Agreed.
But this one was also paid out before it came before the commission.
And wasn't required, but the way that it happened was perfectly legal, but not consistent with the policy that I had imposed over and my own folks at Town Hall. That's the reason I've asked that this come back.
And then I'm going to ask a silly question because contribution was only supposed to be like 40-something hundred, and you guys paid the county share and the city share.
Oh,
And I looked at the letter on
Yeah, I saw the letter and I saw the difference. I presumed that we were just providing an extra
You
amount.
were, I was just kind of wondering why you provided the county share, because
Well, we'll certainly go to the county and see what we could do about that, Mayor.
our share was supposed to be 41.25.
Right.
And
Right.
we paid the 53.87, which was,
That was what they asked us for.
no.
Well, I got the email.
Well, be that as it may, I'll see if we can have our finance director do a reconciliation with the county.
Our share was 41.
I just think I deleted
Here,
that
nope.
email.
We provide your residents with 53, but we're requesting 41 from you.
Okay, that's correct. That's the number I saw on the letter they sent.
Yeah, well, this is a letter
Yeah.
that they sent, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it was just, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they can put it to good use.
Oh, they certainly will.
Trust me, they can definitely put it to good use, but I was kind of curious when I saw it. I was like, well, why did we pay more than what they were asking for? I mean, we love them.
Just not that much.
You see? Looking at it. You see that town of Public Park for your allocation, 5,300.
No, it says we want to thank you for your check.
Oh, okay.
We thank you for giving us extra money. But we appreciate
Well,
it. It's okay.
Here's probably what I'll do next year. I'll square off the difference.
Down.
Okay.
But just give them what they asked for.
All right, fair enough.
All right, is there a motion? Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to pass 7.3, motion to ratify the fair share contribution.
I second.
Okay. Roll call.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. So, trying to put my little sticker thingy back on. All right, it's 6.2 and 6.2 is different from 7.
Mayor, you have 7.1 as well.
Yeah.
Well, we amended 7. Oh,
No, 7.1 is gonna be the longer one. 6.2 is the approval of the interlocal agreement with Hallandale and for the I-95 pump station.
May I, Mayor?
Yes.
For the record, item 6.2, Mayor Commission, is Resolution 2025-015, a resolution of the Town Commission, of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, approving and authorizing the execution of a joint participation agreement between the Town of Pembroke Park and the City of Hallandale Beach for the maintenance of the South Broward Pumping Station located on the west side of I-95, attached to is Exhibit A, authorizing the town manager to take any and all action necessary in furtherance of the agreement, including accepting non-substantial changes to the agreement, subject to the review and approval of the town attorney, provided for conflicts, severability, and provided for an effective date. On the floor for your consideration.
Okay. I did have a couple questions. I don't know if anybody else had a couple questions, but I did. If I could figure out what page it is in my book.
yeah, there was a lot of reports on that.
No, that was the small one.
There we go.
I saved the big one for last. So I kind of had a question. So this repair is for a maximum of 300,000, just for this repair. But what is the? Are we setting an amount for maintenance? Because it says maintenance and
Yeah.
contract's going to 2029. So is there an amount set for maintenance up to not to exceed?
Well, it's a split, but we asked for a history, and the maintenance history on this is averaging somewhere between $2,000 and $3,500 a year
Okay.
over the last several years, and so it would have to be consistent with that pattern. And we asked for that report and just got it a couple of days ago, so we're reasonably happy with this agreement. We wish that the state of Florida were required to step up to the plate. But if we wait for the state of Florida, the storm would come on June 1, and this thing wouldn't be ready to go. And it's absolutely mandatory. All the water that goes underneath Hallandale Beach Boulevard goes into this pump and then gets pumped out to the Hollywood Lake next to the golf course off of South Park near Pembroke Road. And it's obviously a matter of urgency.
So is there a possibility of on item number 10 of the draft contract, I don't know if it's the same as the one you put out here, but can you put like a maximum cost not to exceed 50,000 of your maintenance?
Sure.
I mean,
I'd welcome an amendment like that.
Yeah, and also, Mayor, and again, I don't want to speak for the manager, I would imagine that future maintenance will be something that'll be considered as part of the budget process.
Okay.
So we'd include some funding to contemplate that future opportunity. If we wanted to include a cap that would require anything beyond that amount to come back to the commission.
Yeah, I would be appreciative of that. And then,
So.
I can't.
The other thing, just to be mindful of, if I may, and the manager raises a point, this evening, the city of Hallandale Beach is also considering the same agreement that you're currently reviewing.
Okay. And actually, Todd is here. He just came in from that meeting. So is there any input you can give us on that?
That would be helpful, because again, to the extent the commission is comfortable, it would be beneficial to approve the same agreement that Hallandale agreed.
Was the Florida Department of Transportation not involved in that pump or had ownership of that pump?
And
Let's start with the first thing. Hallandale approved the agreement on their consent agenda.
you got to tell us who you are.
I'm sorry, Todd Larson, Craig A. Smith and Associates.
Okay.
On your question about ownership, the station legally belongs to the Department of Transportation, but the agreement was, when it was built, that the normal maintenance cost would be split between Hallandale and Pembroke Park, and that if there was major repairs, that the DOT would kick into them on a case-by-case basis. And as part of this, we can go back and ask them for it, but unless they're budgeted for it or they have any excess funds, they won't pay it until the next budget year.
Okay.
So they're not offering any funds right now, is that correct?
Not at this time.
But there's language that the town, your manager specifically requested to be included in the agreement that would reserve the right of either party, particularly the town, to go after either the state DOT or the warranty or the surety, any bond that may be connected to the project to secure some of the maintenance costs.
When this original agreement came about, which was years and years ago, there was a clause that they were paying like $64,000 a year or something like that for 4 years. Is that correct?
I think there was 2 years that they were paying a payment towards certain maintenance features, but those died out because that was a budget appropriation. There was also language in there that in the original contract until it expired, that they would pay 1/3 if there was a major repair. And what we'll try to do is get them over the next year, because it was too late to get involved in this year's budget, to get them to put that back into their language and help fund future major repairs.
How come the FDOT, when the contract they basically let it expire at one point? Why did somebody pursue that? I didn't understand that. How did they drop the ball on that where they didn't pursue and get the FDOT to sign back in and keep paying every?
The original agreement was meant to be a perpetual agreement, but it had an exploration clause in it that expired about 5 years ago, give or take.
Yeah, and again, when obviously we weren't involved at the time, my recollection is the original agreement goes back to roughly 2011. I think there was a 4 or 5 year payment obligation from the state, and they incrementally made those payments to the extent that they were obligated to do so. My understanding is once that period ended, the DOT had no further involvement, and the city of Hallandale continued to maintain the pump station up through whatever incident occurred last November.
And the DOT took over certain maintenance items. They maintained the 84-inch line that runs from that station all the way over to Shaves Lake in Hallandale, and they maintained the canal along I-95 between Pembroke Road and Hollywood Boulevard. In fact, they spent a fortune relining that so that they wouldn't have backup problems. They maintain that, but what they don't maintain is this inside the state actual station itself. Everything else is maintained by the DOT.
That station was like 25 years old anyway, wasn't it?
It's built in
It was pretty old.
2003.
2003.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Can I mention a couple other things, Mayor? Were
Yes.
your questions addressed?
Number 7, I still kind of have a question, but I can't figure out what I want to ask exactly.
Okay. What I was going to mention is the original agreement was dated 2003. Then there was a new agreement in 2007. That agreement expired in 2011, and there was a 30-year warranty, and there's still a couple years left on that warranty. That's the reason why we insisted on a provision that we could chase after the warranty. To answer your question, somebody should have. Somebody should have done exactly but somebody back in 2011 should have been getting worked up about it instead of waiting until there was a problem. And by the way, there are two problems with that station. There's a cracked tank, which is obviously has to be addressed right away. And then there's an electrical failure, which the town of Hallandale believes was due to an electrical strike. So I'll tell you that this agreement, this was a hard-fought battle. I mean, Todd, you were involved in our meetings. And Todd, by the way, is retained as Pembroke Park's consultant for this very purpose. And we wanted him involved because he was part of the original design of this thing. So if anybody could look over their shoulder in Hallandale Beach effectively on our behalf would be someone who's working directly for us as a consultant. But part of the difficulty of one of the things the mayor is mentioning is that Hallandale Beach just passed it. Todd just came from that. And unfortunately, we need to pass the same agreement as they have in order for us to not be forced into a delay for reconciliation. But if the town attorney could address this issue of the potential cap,
Yeah,
I'd
well,
appreciate it.
and you saw in the resolution of approval, it delegated certain limited authority to the manager. We didn't know how Hollywood's commission would receive the item this evening, not knowing whether they would seek any changes, whatever those changes might be. So we had language built into the resolution that would give the manager, subject to review by our office, the ability to make non-material changes to the agreement.
I would like to see that the town has some sort of insight into the maintenance schedule to make sure the thing is properly maintained. Is Hallandale maintaining this?
Yes.
That's part of the agreement.
Okay.
I will, Commissioner, I can forward to you, we just got the maintenance information about 48 hours ago, and I'll send you the PDF of the maintenance schedule they've been following, and I presume they'll continue to follow.
That's the
I would assume
expectation.
so.
Because a hole in a tank like that or something like that, it should have been caught a long time ago, and it should have been dealt with a long time ago. It shouldn't wait to get to the point where
Yeah, it's been about 2 years they've had problems with that tank because they contacted me before, and I told them about the warranty.
So they knew about it.
So they've known about it for 2 years and
For a couple of years.
finally getting it
And by the
done.
way, that's the reason why our town insisted that the agreement give us the authority to pursue the warranty without worrying about the fact that was any of our staff members, because this is such an unusual thing. The state of Florida owns it. Hallandale Beach is responsible for maintaining it, and it lives in the town of Pembroke Park.
And we pay for it.
Well, we're sharing it. On the other hand, does that mean that's more to our benefit? I've talked to our staff about our taking over the maintenance of instead of Hallandale Beach, and there are some complexities that maybe would not be appropriate for it to become part of our service department.
And I can just
Even though it's
also,
on our property, I think that, if they're going to take the responsibility of it, that's fine with me.
and just for reference, as the manager indicated, for the past 5 years, roughly, the city has spent roughly $5,000 in maintenance costs annually. Between 2015 and 2019, they spent just shy of $17,000 for that lump of years. And then it's been either $5,000 or just below annually for the past 5 years.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. So. Thank you, Todd.
Problem.
Thank you. Okay. So,
Let me pass it as is, and then I'll come back to you with
yeah, you
the
come back
manager's authority.
with the with the maximum
Yeah.
maintenance cost, putting in a completion date on
We'll get a date from Hollandale.
because leaving it blank could mean they could fix it like 10 years from now.
Well, the expectation is, I don't say the work has been done, but they have an interest in getting the work done as much as we do.
Yeah, but ink is cheap, litigation is expensive, so. Okay. All right, so is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion past 6.2, approval of the agreement between the city of Hallandale and the town of Pembroke Park.
I second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? No, roll call.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hotchkiss?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette?
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. So the last item is 7.1, reconsideration.
and approval to amend the scope of the awarded agreement of the construction of the 25th Street Stormwater Improvement Project.
May I make a procedural comment, Mayor, on this item, if I could? The item is framed on the agenda as a reconsideration, but this really is not a reconsideration. This is an item that the commission approved at your last commission meeting, you may recall. There's a separate mechanism under Robert's rules to consider an item where you're not looking to change the commission action, you're essentially looking to amend it. There's a motion that's in order under Robert's rules. It's referred to as a motion to amend something previously adopted. That's really what this would be. It's not so much a reconsideration, which is a two-step process and also has some additional procedural trappings. This would be a motion to amend the prior action of the commission to approve the awarded agreement for construction of the Southwest 25th Street Stormwater Project, if that's the commission's intent, based on the additional input provided by the manager.
So this is, because I kind of want some like, I kind of want a record of what we're actually going for. Are we going for the original project with the 11 items that were taken out? Are we going for just the pump station being added back in? I kind of want some clarification on that, because I know that there was initially 11 items taken out of this project. And so I kind of want to know, like, specifically, what are we including? What are we getting? Are we going back to the original bid that was everything? Are we just, which items,
Well, the original bid was 4.8, and this puts us back to that number.
So that's going to include
Everything that was in the original RFP.
the drainage, demand, all the drainage and the covers, the pump, everything.
To my knowledge, it's Manny, unless you could tell me there's something
Dan?
different.
Can Dan come up too? I'm sorry. I just want to make sure.
Sure.
It's Southwest is 4.6. Wait.
Whatever the bid was, Mayor, I'm not,
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Manny?
Manny Arzabal, Deputy Director of Public Services. Yes, as far as my knowledge, the project will go back to the original scope of work, which was as designed by CAS. So that's where we stand. So everything should go right back to how it was originally.
Yeah, basically that's it, yeah.
You say so also, since
Yeah,
we're
I
creating
just came
records
up
here.
in case you had any more technical questions.
Okay. I'm just looking to see if there was anything between this, that I'm just going back over my notes, because I do write a lot of notes. And I just want to make sure, because of the fact that, I mean, this was one of those things that, the town would have had egg on its face, and the people on the east side would have been floating down the street had this not been caught and brought to the commission's attention. And so I just want to make sure that we are where we should be with the grant, that we're not going to be stuck with any clawbacks, because had we gone through with this and not done what needed to be done, which was what was in the original grant specs, that we would be stuck footing this bill once we started this work.
I believe that's why we put it back in its entirety, so that we don't have to worry about that option.
Yeah, Mayor, I might point out that, and I know she's watching the meeting, as she always does, I've conferred with Dee Carper, who's bird dogging our relationship with the county, so that this keeps us in a satisfactory position related to the county.
Okay. I know Todd was the one who had worked with the MPO on this to get this money approved, and it was coming from different pockets. Todd, are we okay with MPO on this as is right now? I just want to make sure that we're not.
Yeah, this one here is done with the gas tax money.
Surtax.
Surtax, right, it's a gas tax.
Yep.
And it's the approved, back to the approved project scope and everything that is approved by the county.
Okay, and there's not going to be any delays in getting this completed within the time frame that you had originally negotiated with them?
My understanding is that they're ready to go as soon as it's approved.
Okay.
We'll have to check this schedule, the construction schedule. We worked with the county. I'll get with Osmani. But yeah, there was an approved timeline schedule of when we should open the bids and when we should start construction. I'll check tomorrow to verify if we need to go back to them and amend that.
Yeah, I don't know about the end date, but
the scope of the work.
what they were worried about now was making sure that it began within a certain date, and we can do that.
So, we'll check all the dates to make sure, and if not, we'll get an amendment through the county to make sure we're hitting all those dates. And then also getting the funding in, so we're getting the money back. There was a item in our contract to help facilitate you guys and moving the pay applications through in and out of the county and updating these, so we will be hitting those funds that you guys have already approved for us to work on these things.
What's the scope of the work?
The scope of the work is what we bid out, and that was where I think this time last year where Aleem and I had split the project in two. We had a couple commissioning meetings about that. So this is phase one of the 25th Street project, and tonight you guys have amended it to put everything back into phase one, so we don't have to carry anything into phase two from phase one. So phase one is going out the door, lift station's getting built, and the level of service of which we designed for to make sure that this water gets taken out of that area and it's not standing for days affecting these businesses, we'll be back to our original design and level of service.
Okay.
Which was permitted by which was already permitted, so.
Okay. Okay, are there any other questions?
Nope.
Nope.
A
We're happy
motion.
to get it ready. Good to finally get it done.
Yeah. Okay, so can you just go over a little briefly what phase two is going to entail and what the cost is going to be and how it affects once phase one is not complete? Once phase one is complete, if it's gonna cause a strain without having phase two completed, and what the cost of phase two is gonna be?
So so phase one, when Aleem and I worked together to break this up in a little more manageable projects for you guys, phase one has the lift station, which that carries all the water out. So that's integral to getting that in place. And then it has components of the gravity system. Phase two extends that gravity system out where it's collecting more of this water, so it's not pooling so much near the lift station, and it's collecting all that water. So phase two is an important part in making sure this project and this drainage system operates at the level of service of which we were permitted for. The permit was originally for 25th Street project. We've gotten with DEP, they said, yeah, it's okay to build it in two phases. So the level of service and the design of this project is for the overall both phases. So it wouldn't behoove the city to build, or the town to build, just phase one and forget about phase two for years. It would be important for you to push through phase two, as soon as you can try to get that through. And you've got some time. We could work with D, try to get some funds, some grants to help out with phase two, but it wouldn't be something we'd want to sit around on for years.
Okay.
Yeah, Dee and I talked about that today, Mayor. We're pushing full steam ahead.
Okay, what's the cost for phase two? What's the rough estimate?
We roughly had split the two financially at the same scale, and we've got new numbers now. That's the good thing about going to bid. So these numbers that we got in the last bid, I can take that bid numbers and compare them with the phase two and give you a more accurate assessment. But roughly it was split in half, so we're probably looking at 4.8 for phase two. Just roughly off the top of my head without looking at the phase two numbers and breaking them down and then kicking them back to you.
Okay, so I apologize for misstating that it was going to be 1.2, which was why I was trying to lower the reserve costs for getting phase one done. And I think that's why it was imperative that we roll the ARPA funds into trying to complete this part of it, because of the fact that it affects so many businesses and so many folks on the east side, and getting that water out, because every time it rains, the east side is completely underwater. So I don't know how we're gonna fund this.
Dee's working on trying to save the Phase 2 money, which is through the Department of Transportation. It's a grant that I got just before I left. And she's trying to get enough of it, get them to agree that enough is done so that they'll hold the money. Hopefully, if she does, then that'll cover like 3 million of it, 3-point-something million of it.
Yeah, I would kind of speak to that. So there's a DOT funds right now. I think what are is there a lap?
It's the
I have to talk to D.
it's the Complete Streets money from the MPO. It was awarded in 2000, but there's a 5-year wait to spend the money on these type of projects, and in that time they're supposed to get everything ready, and they got it semi-designed and that, but they didn't get it completely ready, and they have to make sure that they get it completed, get it out to the street. They would want it before June, and now what she's trying to do is see if she can extend that time a little bit beyond that.
Yeah, in that June deadline, I think it's June 30th. We're going to try to hit that, and then there's also some negotiation with the DOT because those funds are for sidewalks, bike paths, so that could only really go toward our restoration costs. So there's going to be some working with DOT on that, and then I think Chandler and I have to get with Chandler and Stanley to see where that was left off with the DOT because they were working with the DOT on that. So we have to work full circle and get with Stanley and figure out where that is and work with the DOT to try to get the Phase 2 scope merged in with what they want to see. So there's still some jockeying to do with that, but there's a hard, like, we got to try to hit that hard deadline of June 30th, which might be an issue, and how we're working with the DOT, where that stands with the DOT at this point.
There's $2.9 million in the C-SLIP that can be used for Phase 2.
Yeah.
There's your dollar amount.
So, yeah, we're just trying to work with Dee to try to get all that squared away and figure out how we can get Phase 2 out the door with the funds that are currently out there that you guys have in grants.
You think you have a question in the back?
You're talking about.
Okay, you got to come down.
Next to the, hi, how are you? David from the Sweeney's Group. You're talking about the flooding next to the racetrack and the 3101 building and the alleys.
No, not exactly. What you're talking about is John P. Lyons Lane.
Yeah.
John P. Lyons Lane is a project. It was a 2-phase project. The first phase was done, which is the gravity line going about 3/4 of the way down.
Yeah.
The last maybe 200 feet of gravity in the pump station was supposed to have been done under a state grant. But it was not built, and that's where the problem is. Eventually, that last section of line in the pump station that pumps it over into the other system,
What
and now
happens is
has not been done, and that's why you get it back. It
backs
once
up.
it's full, it takes a while to percolate down.
It won't percolate until at least 12 hours.
Right.
Because it fills up almost of water. Anybody coming in from racetrack or leaving racetrack, it actually goes over the barrier into the parking lot, and I have videos of it. Like it's a total mess over there. It goes halfway through the doors on any car.
And how many million did we spend on it the first time it was done?
No, that one was
And it's been like 4 years,
1 point
5
something
years
million, if
now.
I remember right. It was done under a state of Florida grant.
My point is it was done and it's still flooding.
And it didn't, right, well, they didn't finish it because they didn't put the outfall in. That was in the second phase, and it was.
Yeah, they only did Phase 1, they didn't do Phase
Right.
2.
It was approved by the state legislature and vetoed twice by the governor.
David, do you know something about Home Depot in that area and how that's negotiated?
Yeah, and we're in the process of concluding a development agreement with Home Depot, so we're hoping to incorporate some money from them as well.
Right now, the thing, right now I'm in negotiation with Home Depot because for the next 2 years, they want to come in and October 2027, I have a 10-year lease, and I'm willing to work with them. They're gonna see if they relocate me or property, so that's all coming into effect. We've been actually going at it for the past 3 months. And today I actually talked to the Home Depot, because I know the next weekend, next Wednesday should be the closing of Home Depot. But they're like, well, what are we gonna do with the flooding? Now, the flooding came up with that, because they're saying that they wanna close off that section of the parking lot because they don't wanna have any lawsuits.
Yeah, that's part of the development agreement that the Commissioner Morissette is raising
Yes.
with us.
And, and right now there's a few liens.
Yeah.
Some people that also did some legal stuff with Joseph. So it's like a big shamble right now. They don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, we just finished negotiating elimination of those liens, so
Yeah,
that's not gonna be an issue.
yeah. So the only thing that we have is just what they're gonna do with the flooding that's happening there. Because they might just close off that whole section, and then delivery trucks can't come and deliver. Then they'll have to come on the outbound instead of going in.
I don't think they're gonna build without having that flooding area resolved,
Yeah.
Alliance project resolved.
No, they're gonna have to put in some kind of system. They're gonna have to. They're not gonna have a choice.
Because it's been, 4 years now, 5 years almost, that system was built. Todd, when you were here, right?
It was built before I left, yes.
Yeah.
And we had the funds in place both through the state legislature and through the HMGP, the Hazard Mitigation Program, to do it. I think it was even designed, or was being designed under the HMGP funds by the other engineer. What's
Keith
it?
Associates.
Keith and Associates has the engineering done.
Right, they were supposed to have done that and run that project forward.
The permitting's done too.
Yeah,
Okay.
they've been moving along.
So, yeah, they've got that much done. It's just a matter of finding the funding to cover it.
Okay, so we have 2.9 of, no, we don't have anything available for this at this point, right?
Yeah, so we have basically, you have 2 stormwater projects, one with Keith and one with us, that's still hanging out there that we need to try to gather some funds up.
And I don't know, right, and I don't know the status of the HMGP on that project.
Okay. Can we have a roundtable? Would you guys be amenable to a roundtable to discuss our drainage issues?
Yeah, and we also need to revisit the stormwater fee.
Why do we need a roundtable for this? That's what workshops and commission meetings are for.
Yeah, but we need to literally
Move
sit
it
down
faster.
with blueprints and try to go through and come up with some solutions.
I'll check with the clerk later this week.
But I'd like to make sure that the roundtables are done during the evening time so that we can have our residents come, because I know he has questions that are not necessarily getting answered right now. And I'd like to also make sure that we have all the folks that are in the room with money.
I would also like to see how we're going to get how can we get information on what exactly that we can maybe get Coca-Cola to do. I mean, Home Depot to do when they move in there.
Because the big issue with Home Depot is they want me to, I have liability insurance inside the store if anything happens, right? This thing that came up with the flood, they want liability on the cars. Whatever cars get damaged, they want liability on that. They want liability on the parking lot, which is Home Depot's, which I have emails from Home Depot saying that if there's damage on the cars and their insurance, if they get claims that their insurance goes up, well, it goes up on me because of my customers coming into the store. So for the next 2 years, they're like putting me responsible for that corner of the parking lot.
So they're trying to lay the liability and spread it out on everybody around them?
Well, there's only 3 people left. There's the pharmacy,
Right.
there's Untoasted, there's us. I have.
So, I mean, are they doing the same to everyone? They want to do the same to
Their
everyone?
lease is done in 2026, so they're not going to be affected. I'm the only one because I had a 10-year lease remaining. So they want to because they said first they were going to start construction in May 2027, then they pushed it to October. I got an email today that maybe at the end of September, before October, or depending on permits with the city and zoning and all what they're gonna do in the state, they might push it till 2028.
You think they would be required to whatever they're offering everyone else, to have it pertain to you also?
Yeah.
And not be single you out?
Well, that's what's happening right now. So, because we're on the corner,
It does,
and the
wherever
water
you,
goes right there.
yeah.
It's crazy, I know, and
Yeah.
that's what we're.
It doesn't make sense.
Why would I be responsible if your insurance goes up? Let's say somebody got damaged, flood water or whatever, that I would be responsible if your insurance, so they would put it in the CAM. That's what they want to throw it into, the CAM. So whatever expense that the property contains, they're gonna split it up to everybody. So they're buying the property for 20 million. The CAM is gonna be tremendous, because when Joseph bought it was 3.5 10 years ago. So already the CAM is gonna jump. You know, so it's a big problem. I'll know more tomorrow, because I have another meeting with their lawyers, with the Home Depot lawyers, with Joseph Fetterman's lawyer, my lawyer, at 1:00 tomorrow at the duty-free building.
Yeah, keep us updated on what's happening.
Yes.
I'll text David, and I'll
Please
text you, I'll
do.
keep you posted. At 1:00 tomorrow is our meeting, and we'll see what it goes from there.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, is there a motion?
And this would be a motion to amend the prior commission action to embrace the additional conversation set up by the manager and your professional consultants.
I'll make a motion to amend as stated by our attorney on 7.1, the reconstruction approval of Southwest 25th Street Stormwater Improvement Project.
I second.
Any further discussion? Not, I'll call the roll. Roll.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Attorney comments?
I have nothing, Mayor Commission. Thank you.
Town manager comments?
Yeah, just a brief comment, not really to anything substantively here, but we're waiting for the arrival of an item. Madam Clerk, what is, help me
right
with
there.
that?
Why am I suspicious?
Okay.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Your table.
ask you all to please join me in singing for his 29th birthday. Commissioner Eric Morissette, happy birthday.
You got those numbers backwards.
All right.
Not
Happy
even.
birthday to you.
Happy
Birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Eric. Happy birthday to you. And if you would do the honors
Thank you
of
so much.
blowing out the candles, Commissioner?
Really? Is that
Yeah.
blow them up or blow them out?
You see if you can help her.
Cane in the back of the room.
Yeah, let's not have the sprinklers go off.
There you go.
Okay, so we're okay.
We have that on the budget thing. AECs and. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
He's catching up to me, folks.
Hey, how many candles do you want to give him?
78.
What?
78. You look surprised.
All right, Vice Mayor.
Full service. We're full service law firm.
Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate it. Wow.
Yeah.
Further comments, Mayor?
Okay, thank you. Okay. I have no comments. Vice Mayor, do you have any comments?
Nope.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
No.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashim?
No.
Commissioner Jacobs?
I do. This commission needs to be paying close attention to what's going on in Tallahassee right now. annexation has changed to a new word called consolidation. Municipalities are going to be combining, and there are several up there in discussion right now. Any municipality, I believe, under $25,000 is subject to consolidation. So, based on population, yeah, 25,000. So, something to pay close attention to. That's all I have.
Okay. There's a special workshop commission meeting Tuesday, April 29th at 1:00 PM. That's the meeting to discuss the community
Community
center.
Right.
Park, okay. Then there's a workshop commission meeting Wednesday, April 30th at 6 PM. And then there's a budget workshop roundtable Wednesday, May 14th at,
No, it's May
13th,
13th.
Mayor.
okay,
May 13th at 6 p.m.
Switched it to Tuesday.
okay, at 6 PM?
Yes.
Yep.
Good, that means I ain't gotta find somebody to pick up Aiden from school. Okay, and the regular commission meeting is Wednesday, May 14th at 7 PM.
Yep.
That I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
Aye.
For the 30th.
Meeting adjourned at 7:42.
When is the